This is Galahound19, and as voted on the polls, we have Avatar The Last Airbender as Spider-Verse variants. So let's go!
Welcome to Super Shenanigans, the one show where we go behind the scenes and behind the masks, seeing the highs and lows of being a superhero. I am your host, William Waterloo, and I have prepared a web-tastic subject. We have a range of wall-crawling weirdos from across the Spider-Verse. Now, before we get started, does anyone in the audience have a question? Go on, don't be shy.
Yes, I have a question. Are you the same William Waterloo, the former hero Captain Calamity, the clumsiest Superman ripoff? And that you still hold the record for most public damage and least action figures sold?
Well, yes, but I wouldn't say I was quite that bad. Why, I once saved a school bus filled with children from a rabid gorilla.
That was a guy in a costume. He was teaching them about animal cruelty, which I'm pretty sure they got the message after what you did to that man.
Well, as much as I want to talk about myself, I'm not the subject for today. No, that would be Earth N205, where there are multiple Earths containing their own spider variant. This Earth contains multiple variants. And even in the vast multiverse, that is a rare occurrence. This world is much like ours, except it borderlines on the spirit world, and every so often, spirit creatures would come to inhabit human bodies to experience their material world, and in exchange, they would grant these humans with elemental abilities, like say, able to bend stone to their will, or create a strong gust of wind with but a flick of their wrist. Now in the modern age, at least 40% of humanity has superpowers, but the first to bear the spider insignia and the skin-tight costume had to be Kyra Stacy, a young woman with Eskimo heritage but born and raised in Japan. She acquired aqua abilities at a young age by a water spider spirit. However, this was at the time where the city was being overrun by the Fire Patron, a gang of pyromancers set to drive away anyone with abilities different from their own. And this led to Kyra tragically losing her mother in the crossfire of a gang war. A few years after this heartbreaking event, Kyra and her older brother Suta decided to fight back. They just didn't know how. The brother had no abilities and mostly learned self-defense from YouTube videos, and the sister had little to no control over her aquakinesis. Why, a few weeks into their vigilante sibling team-up, the best they could do was stop a carjacking, which was actually how I made my debut as a superhero.
Except that guy was a hotel valet, and you stupidly wrecked that Mercedes. So at the time, who was your sidekick? Public liability insurance?
Well, let's get back to the story. Everything changed one day for the brother and sister. They found something that was lost a long time ago. Through determination and dumb luck, Suta intercepted an enemy radio transmission. A small band of fire patrons were planning a robbery. A multi-million-dollar corporation, Oswald Industries, were having some sort of shipment delivered from one of their overseas branches. As much as the siblings wanted to take this one themselves, they instead took the recording to their father, who is a respected officer in their hometown, so he took the evidence straight to the police commissioner. Only Fowler Ozai had other plans. It turned out that the commissioner himself was secretly the leader of the fire patrons. That was how much of their crimes had gone undetected. Kyra and Suta were forced to run as their evidence was destroyed and their father was carried off. But instead of going into hiding, They fashioned themselves costumes. Kyra took the name Aqua Spider, and Suta became Pincer Blades. And with their new alter egos, they went to the shipping yard on the night the robbery was taking place. And while under the cover of darkness, the two were able to slip past the robbers and intercept the shipment. Except, there was no way they could have expected. The cargo was a cryogenics chamber, the design of which looked to be straight out of a 90s comic book. Now, Pincer Blades was skeptical at first, but Aqua Spider, she realized there was a boy inside, so she didn't hesitate to open the chamber. And the second she did, a near blinding flash lit up from the machine, illuminating the entire shipping yard, which pretty much alerted the invading fire patrons. And with no clear way of escape, the brother and sister chose to fight their way out. Aqua Spider went with long-range water projectiles, providing cover fire for her brother, who was tackling the enemy one by one in close quarters combat. The two of them were holding their own. Well, for a while, that is. Until the patron's captain stepped in. A young man with a burned scar across his face. He had an aura of raw power and unchecked rage.
Now, how do you know? You weren't even there.
Well, I read the reports. And I wouldn't be a good TV host if I didn't embellish just a little. Now, the captain was Zhu Kane, the son of Fowler Ozai. And, well, the only thing that guy deserves on Father's Day is a kick in the pants. When Ozai started his extremist campaign, he wanted his family to be an army. He brought up his 2 kids to be his first line of defense. And his son, Zhu Kane, he treated him the worst. This one time, the young man was charged with guarding one of their hideouts. But who would come a-knockin'? Oh, just a rival gang attack. Zhu Kane and his subordinates fought back, but were severely outnumbered. The young man knew that even if by some miracle they would succeed, the losses would be catastrophic. And so, he reluctantly ordered a retreat. They had literally hundreds of hideouts, so he decided to protect his subordinates instead. But this infuriated Ozai. He went as far as scarring his own son in front of their entire gang. It's the toll of insubordination in his campaign.
Okay, backstory aside, can we get back to the story?
Oh, gee, what is your problem? Do you have a block of ice for a heart? Or a few too many sticks up your bum? Well, anyway, back to the shipping yard with the cornered siblings. They had defeated all the other pyromancers, but Zhu Kane used his fire abilities as if it were an extension of his body, with Aqua Spider and Pincer Blades attacking from both sides. Where Zhu Kane took a few direct hits, he countered attack with such overwhelming speed and ferocity. He quickly dealt with the siblings, knocking the sister to the floor and grabbing the brother by his throat. About to deliver the finishing blow, when suddenly a powerful gust of wind shot between them. Zhu Kane was then swept away in a cartoonish-style tiny tornado. His subordinates tried to intervene, but they were knocked back by a cluster of rocks and a raging fireball. The siblings looked back and saw the boy climbing out of the cryo chamber, all while bending 4 elements at once. Something that's supposed to be downright impossible. Spirits who are inhabiting human bodies can only grant 1 elemental ability. But this boy was emanating with such energy. That is, before he fell flat in his face. I mean, the kids spend nap time in a freezer. What do you expect? But don't worry, before the bad guys could figure out what was going on, the siblings scooped up the kid and hightailed it. After getting back home and having a good night's sleep, they got to talking. The boy's name is Aaron Parker, and before all the craziness, him and his uncle were living in this accommodation provided by this local temple they were working in. They had to squeeze pennies. They lived simple but happy lives. But one day, everything changed. It happened shortly after Aaron got his powers from a wind spider spirit. Since then, he'd been going to a secluded forest to practice his powers in peace. That was when he found two spirits locked in combat. One was like a being composed of pure light, while the other was like a demon made of darkness. Aaron didn't know what was going on, but he could tell the dark one was winning and was enjoying the suffering in his opponent. So, following his gut, Aaron attacked the dark spirit. Where he failed to do any actual damage, he did distract the creature long enough for the light spirit to blast a hole through its shadowy body. The dark spirit scurried off into the woods. As for the light spirit, it stared at Aaron for a moment, and then it bonded with him. Since then, he's had power over wind, water, earth, and fire. Now his uncle wanted to keep everything a secret, just for a little while, but Aaron thought that his powers could make them rich and famous, get them the good life. But things didn't really play out that way. A corrupt CEO, Iman Oswald, found out about the boy's powers and wanted to exploit them. So he sent armed goons to kidnap him. Aaron had great power but not much control. He was quickly subdued, and when his uncle tried to fight them, they killed him. That was the last thing Aaron saw before waking up in that cryo chamber. After hearing his story, the siblings comforted the boy, and for the past few days they kept their heads low. They were being hunted by an evil corporation and a gang of thugs supported by a crooked police chief. But then, out of nowhere, they received a radio message from Kane himself, and he revealed where he had been working for his father. Under the surface, he was planning to betray him and disband his gang of pyromaniacs. But he can't do it alone, and after seeing the three of them fighting, he proposed a team-up. It took plenty of convincing, but Kane stayed true to his word. From then on, he concealed himself as the vigilante fire spinner. And Aaron, he became the superhero known as Spider Avatar. They became a team that would slowly change their world for the better.
Now, design-wise, I have to admit this was a bit of a challenging one, but I'm happy with the results, and if you all feel the same way, then leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and suggest whatever character you'd like to see turn into Spider-Man or a superhero or whatever. Now, if you want to check out more content, I got Ben 10 aliens as fantasy suits of armor. Or if you want something more original, there's The Adventures of a Dragon Nerd. Now, there are some pretty cool monster designs in that one. And one more thing. Don't forget to have a good day.